So I'm here at Comic-Con 2011 with Steve Lane from Prop Store of London.
Hey Jason, how you doing, man?
Good, and as you can probably hear, it's pretty crazy here this year, and there's a lot of people here, lots of noise, but Steven's going to show us some of the stuff that he brought for display today.
Yeah, it's the usual crazy Comic-Con time. It's great fun though, we love being here, it's great to hang out with everybody, and we just have a wild time. So let me talk you through some of the things that we've got here today on display. We've tried to bring a sort of wide variety of pieces that's going to appeal to a lot of different collectors, really.
Right.
Obviously, we're very passionate collectors ourselves, and so there are things that we love more than other things, and we have a tendency to sort of skew things sometimes in that general direction. So we've really tried to broaden it a little bit this year.
Right.
One of the most popular things that we've brought down with us so far has actually been the ZF-1 from The Fifth Element, which is an awesome film prop weapon. A lot of people say that it's one of the sort of key prop weapons that have been constructed for the for movies. This was actually designed and created by a few people. Simon Atherton, the armourer on the film, was heavily involved with it, and also the Corbolts as well, who were the special effects guys on the film. So for a lot of the special effects work, they got more involved than Simon did with some of the different units. There was one of these that had a live AK-47 in it, and that would be the one that Simon would have been working with to make sure that they could get the firing mechs work. This particular unit was actually the flamethrower unit, so for anybody who's familiar with the film, it's the unit where Zorg is showing the Mangalores how the weapon works, and he ends up by torching the police costume with his flamethrower, with this great 20-foot flame comes out. So this was a fully practical flamethrower unit for that shot, which is very cool. It's actually a little bit scorched down here, which you can screen match, which is cool. This is a functional nozzle for actually lighting the flame unit down here, and then it would spray gas out, and it's an amazing thing.
Very cool.
I'm just going to pick it up for a second just to show you what it's all about. So, I mean, it's just one of those guns that really is sort of like the epitome of movie guns, you know. It's one that sort of fits into your arm, slots in nicely, feels good and comfortable, utter destruction as soon as you pull the trigger. And you can see by just the response that you're getting from people once you pull it out of the case how excited people get about seeing this piece. A lot of it's machined, CNC'd aluminium with light effects on it, and then it's actually got a sort of gun grip built down in here as well, with a depressed trigger inside, which when it was fully practical would actually fire the flame unit out of it as well. Don't push the red button. Who said push the red button, man?
This Scarface green card, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. As I was saying earlier on, it was nice for us to try and bring a mix of different pieces, so it's not all weapons, it's not all helmets, etc., and costume pieces. And this year we thought we'd bring this item down. It's small, but it's something that has appealed to a lot of people, especially for the sort of gangster genre of movie. Material from those films doesn't turn up, clearly identifiable material from those films doesn't turn up very often. And what's great about this green card is the fact that it's sort of the crux of the beginning of the film. You know, it's his path, his journey to try and achieve this green card. This is a piece that we picked up a number of years ago and we've held in the company collection. It's not one that we've heavily publicised just because it's one of those pieces that can be perhaps easily replicated if all the data is out there, and so we're generally speaking only showing one side of it, and but we want people to see it. You know, we want it to be out there to be enjoyed and people to realise that it still exists. It's only seen for one short sequence within the film, when he's applying for the card, when he gets the green card. It's clipped to the back of the registration paper, but you get a really nice full frame of it, and this is a screen match to that, which is superb. It's an original photo, so it's a production photo of that era. It's got all of his details and date of birth for Tony Montana on the back of it, and it's just a cool thing from Scarface. You know, Scarface stuff, other than the guns, which are really hard to identify if you can track them down. You know, what else are you going to want from a film like this? But people do want stuff from this sort of film. So it's an exciting thing to come out. It was a piece that originated with somebody who worked on a production. It was one of the prop guys who had kept it for a number of years. It went from him to a very private collection. He had it for a number of years, and we sort of persuaded him a few years ago to relinquish it to us. So it took a bit of iron bar work, you know, and a bit of chiseling away, but I knew it was something that we wanted to acquire, so we were persistent, really.
Cool.
So this piece we love. This is a costume piece that we acquired only a few months ago. Again, it was a piece that we had known about for a little while, and we haven't actively pursued a lot of Star Trek material over the last few years, just because there's been so much of it within the marketplace. But we heard about this particular collection. It was a key collection of items, props and costumes that were acquired directly from Paramount Studio back in the early 90s. So what's exciting about that is that at that particular point in time, very little was being released from the studio system, especially with the Star Trek brand. And so we knew that anything that had been officially released at that time could be very exciting, just because it was all still hanging there. So we flew to have a look at this collection and realised what was there. We went through a very lengthy authentication process, talking to some of the key guys, old school, had been working with this material for a number of years, to really ascertain exactly what we were looking at. And this is certainly one of the highlights of that collection. We acquired this costume piece. We acquired a Captain Kirk from the original motion picture. We obviously got the Khan tunic, which we'll have a look at the moment, which is a very exciting piece. There were a couple of other 60s original pieces in there as well, costume pieces. But the Uhura, for most people, is one of the sort of icons of that time, of that era. Once we had deemed that we were looking at what we thought and what we believed it to be, and we acquired it, we then set about the task of going frame by frame through the Blu-ray editions of the series, which have been released recently. And we've actually managed to screen match this to Uhura as well for a particular episode, which is tremendously exciting. And that's, in this instance, looking at not only the badge positioning, which is atypical for the Uhura costume. She always, whenever you see her badge within reason, it actually touches the collar line. It's positioned much higher.
Oh, really?
And she's actually the only character who wears this badge with this braid on the sleeves as well, in this position, with this style of cut. So it was a really exciting find, and then to actually then look at the thread lines, the stitch lines on the costumes as well, and manage to get it to match up. Wow. We're just like, that's as good as it gets. So we were bringing this piece down and offering it for sale at the show. It actually sold a couple of weeks ago, just beforehand. But the gentleman who's bought it allowed us to bring it down anyway, to have it on show and have it on display.
Wow. So
what we're going to do in a couple of weeks' time, about 2 weeks after Comic-Con, we've got the rest of the material that we acquired from that collection. We're going to be launching onto our website. So we've got some really exciting props, phasers, communicators, tricorders, some other costume pieces as well. So that's pretty exciting. That stuff's coming up in just a couple of weeks' time.
And which shows are they from? Are they from all the different shows?
Yeah, from a mix. We've got stuff from the TV shows. Just thinking we've got anything left now from the 60s series, because people get to hear what we've got and they start pouncing on us.
Yeah.
Brandon might know better than I on that one, but we've definitely got some motion picture, Wrath of Khan, Undiscovered Country, Search for Spock, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. So we've got a real, spread across the board there.
Okay.
And some of that material's in the UK, some of that material's over in the US, and so again, it's going to be coming from a couple of different venues as well. But it's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, as I say, we've not really actively pursued a lot of Star Trek material just because there's so much out there. We love it. We think it's great stuff. It's just a lot of collections have already been built with it. And we were like, well, where do we go with this? Are people still going to want this if we buy into it? And the answer has been a very solid yes so far. So we're very excited about it.